This video is on spiritual defense, and I'm going to begin with an example that I experienced probably a month and a half, 2 months ago when I was at the grocery store. There was a man, probably 45 to 50, in front of me, and we naturally struck up a conversation, and we were talking about the economy, and he was making his statements, and I was listening, and I was making some simple back and forth. And then at one point, I made an observation about the structure of the Federal Reserve System. It was a basic piece of information, and at that point the man looked at me and he went, and I know what that means. That means you're one sandwich short of a full picnic, little girl. And I put my finger up in the air and I said, listen, just because you don't know what I'm talking about doesn't mean I don't know what I'm talking about. And so spiritual defense is not karate chopping anybody who doesn't see your point of view. But you have a soul, and you are a human living on the earth, hopefully with a connection to that soul. And it's important that you do not allow other human beings who are not in touch with their soul to minimalize you, to trivialize your thoughts. And this isn't always possible, but when you have a direct confrontation with somebody, or you're having a conversation, and what they say to you is something like, oh, you're crazy, you're a fucking loon, something like that. You should not, and you cannot stand for that. Now, you can choose to walk away, but I will tell you that if you're a sensitive person, you have to learn to stand up for yourself. You have to learn how to let that individual know that, in fact, you do know what you're talking about, and you don't care to converse with them anymore. You really don't. It doesn't really matter who they are. It doesn't matter how close to you they are in your family. You have to reserve some space for your studies and for your examinations and for the information that you're putting together to come to some kind of a head without somebody chopping you down and chopping that information down before you can even process it. In the end, you might discover that parts of it weren't true, or they weren't even necessary for you to get where you're going. But you will stop in your ascent. You will stop in your exploration. You will stop in creating your own novelty if you allow people to do that to you. So that's the first form of spiritual defense. The second form of spiritual defense is to condition your heart and your soul and your mind to understand that you're not here to save everybody. You're not here to create a great and fantastic life for everybody. It's not a possibility. You shouldn't limit yourself to your own life, but getting plugged into, what everybody needs to figure out so that we can transcend this, and thinking that you know what it is that everybody should come to understand, that's going to cause you a lot of pain. It's going to cause a lot of complications in your life. And the most important thing is that it's always going to make you feel like a smaller person than you really are, because you're not supposed to examine your growth by looking at what's going on with all the other 6 million people in the world. They have chose to incarnate for their own reasons. They have chose to be here on this earth to learn very specific lessons in their own life. They may have nothing at all to do with what you're trying to teach them, or what you're trying to talk about with them, or in fact what is important for you. So get over the idea that you are here to transform the globe. You're here to transform the globe through the mirror of yourself. Now,